proud of that book. I'm really proud of that book. It's so funny when you're doing things. I remember I watched an interview where somebody was taking Muhammad Ali, who was older and suffering from a dementia, and they took him around and showed pictures of him beating Sonny Liston, and great moments in his life. And he said, I don't feel like that was me. I know I did it, but I don't feel like it was me. And I would say that too, when you write something, it's a moment in time, and then you move on to something else. And I don't say that you forget that you did it, but it's not what's important to you because you're looking at the new thing. And then when you look back at it, you say, damn, that's a good book. And that's the way I feel about Mojave Incident. I think it's probably the most outstanding book. I wrote a book, Il Dottore, The Double Life of a Mafia Doctor, which was turned into a TV series and did very well. I have another book called The Hunt for Kun Sa that was purchased by Beach House Pictures, and they're doing a documentary on it, and then a dramatic series. So the documentary's filmed, and they're going to be shopping that around soon, like early this year. And Chris Smith, who did Tiger King for Netflix, Tiger King, that's who's directing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, little by little, things are coming into focus, and I really think this new book is just imagine, the dark, dank streets of downtown Beacon Hill, 1898. Glass, gas lamps, a killer at large. It's these Harvard professors dealing with these spiritualists, occultists, and
I'm sold. I'm sold on the whole thing. It's great.
Visualize this. Just visualize it. And it's and by the way, the best character is a character, a real character, and he was a marshal in Fall River, where there were two murders of infants that he was convinced the father, Clara Fowler's father, committed these murders, and so he wanted her to testify. So he is sort of stalking her, and finds out she's with the psychiatrist. And so he's the observer, watching all the goings on in the house and et cetera, and trying to put the pieces together on exactly what's going on. And quite a character in real life. He was a marshal and, like an old Western sort of like Wyatt Earp kind of guy, and very flamboyant. And interesting. So he's one of the main characters, and it becomes this kind of turn of the century murder mystery, and it's just got a texture to it that I really, really like.
Yeah, it sounds like it, because it's also a great moment in history to have.
It is
a story like that, and Fall River recurs with really creepy things that have happened there. Like
it's amazing that you're saying that. It's amazing. It's where Lizzie Borden murders happened.
Fall River is creepy.
Really a creepy town. And when you read the book, the focal point in many ways is Fall River and Lizzie Borden and the whole situation, because that's where Clara Fowler comes from. That's where she was born and raised. And so it's just, we talk about these sort of connections. The arrow that we talked about, or the description as big as a football field. This story is loaded with these kinds of little glints of coincidence that you say, wow, what does this mean? Obviously there's a pattern, there's something that I should be reading into this. Exactly what is it?
Well, I wonder if, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if there are tales that go further back on that area, like maybe Native American tales. That would be an interesting.
Well, there's certainly tales that go back to the 18th century. This is a town that suddenly has a slew of murders. A 51-year history, it goes like without any murders. Then all of a sudden there's like 7 murders, within miles of each other. Vicious murders, axe murders, things of that nature. and the Felber family is involved in these. So it's more than coincidence. The detective, as a matter of fact, is so cool. He makes a map. Well, this is where the Manchester murder happened, where a guy named Jose Carrero, within 6 months of the Lizzie Borden murder, axe murders the wife of his boss. Very similar, because Lizzie Borden is 3 miles away. The Fowler situation happened 4 miles away. So he starts like making these little maps and timelines, and it becomes pretty creepy, but true. It's a true story.
Okay, I got to read this. I can't ask you any more questions until I read it, and then I'll have you back on to answer questions.
I'd love to.
God, that sounds like a great follow-up. And I hope it does well. I mean, you waited 30 years? 40 years? However long it's been since The Exorcist came out, I guess. But
well, that would be 72. So
that's
do the
more
math.
than 40 years.
Yeah,
that's 49 years, something like that.
Yeah.
But
50 years. 50 years in the making. How about that?
It's got to be good. And it came from Blatty. He just handed it off to you with a silver platter. That's wonderful.
We
Wonderful
became
backstory.
very good friends. I mean, he was really a guy, and he died not so long ago, maybe 4 years ago, and I think he was 89. And it was funny. I mean, we had a relationship where I would just show up. Now I knew him pretty well, so if I had something that I thought was really good, I'd go to Washington D.C. and I'd ring his doorbell, and here I am. So he looked at me, and Mark Jaffe at the time was president of Bantam Books, and so I had met Mark Jaffe once or twice. So I show up in his doorstep. He looks at me. And he had, was up a bit of a pedestal there before, a step. So he's looking down at me. He goes, "Why are you here?" So I said, "I had this new book." He says, "Why aren't you camped out at Mark Jaffe's doorstep?" I said, "Because Mark Jaffe wouldn't let me in." "Well, you will." So he said, "Come on in."